Hi guys, this is the video on 7.3. I need you to have your books open so you can copy some of this vocab from your books, and it's on page 356 is where you need to start. We're going to talk about fractions, decimals, and percents, and going back and forth between a representation for all three of these things. So you can write a number as a percent, you can write it as a decimal, as you can write it as a fraction. So it can all represent the same number. So if we have a decimal and we want to turn it into a percent, you can see this in the green box on page 356. You move the decimal point 2 places to the right, which is this way, and add the percent sign. It's that easy. So let's do a couple. Find the decimal point. There it is. Move it 2 places to the right. There's 1, 2. Stop. Put your decimal point and add a percent sign. This one, you have to do the imaginary decimal point. Find it. Move it 2 places to the right. And 6 is the same thing as 600%. 1.55. Move your decimal point 2 places to the right, and you get 155%. Going back the other way to write a percent as a decimal, it would make sense that we're going to do the opposite of what we did up here. We're going to drop the percent sign. We're going to move the decimal point 2 places, this time to the left, which is going the opposite direction. So this is straightforward. Drop the percent sign, find the decimal point. There it is. Move it 2 places to the left, and 0.54 is the same thing as 54%. Drop the percent sign, move your decimal point 2 places to the left. You're going to have to add another 0 for a placeholder. 0.0095 is the same as 0.95%. And this last one, drop the percent sign, add your decimal point, move it 2 places to the left, and you end up with 2.2 being the decimal equivalent of 220%. See if I can get to the second page here. Okay, so there's a couple ways to turn fractions into percents. So we talked about decimals into percents and percents into decimals, but now let's talk about fractions. There's 2 ways to do it. If you have a calculator, you can just turn 7/8 into a decimal and then use the rules that we just did to turn it into a percent. But the other way you can do it is use a proportion. And a proportion says, okay, I know 7/8, but I want this fraction, I want to know what this fraction would be if my denominator were 100, not 8. So I'm going to do it both ways for you. I took my calculator, I divided 7 by 8, and I got 0.875. Move the decimal point 2 places to the right, and add a percent sign. That's the first way. The second way, take 7/8, set it up, and say, what would the value be to make it an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 100? Because we know that's what a percent is. So 8x cross multiply equals 700, and you get x is equal to 87.5, and you add your percent sign. Same answer. Let's do this one 2 ways also. 5/4, if you turn it into a decimal, it's 1.25. To turn that into a percent, find the decimal point, move it 2 places to the right, and add your percent sign. Proportion-wise, 5/4 equals x over 100. 4x equals 500. X equals 125, and this is 125 over 100, and that's 125%. So 2 ways. Let's do a word problem or so. I've pulled this off of page 359, number 44. when you are working these word problems and on certainly on the test, the final exam, I will ask you to write the math question, because when you are reading all the mumbo jumbo of the words, you have to sort through and say, what are they actually asking me to do mathematically? So that we got these total of 600 tickets were sold for a raffle. The probability that your friend will win is 7%. How many of the raffle tickets did your friend buy? So basically, what are they asking us to do? And the math question here is as simple as, what is 7% of 600? That's your math question. Once you find the answer to this math question, then you've answered the word problem. So we haven't done 7-2 yet, which is a proportion method. I'm going to talk about that next time. But remembering that of is multiply, we are going to multiply 7% times 600. So we cannot work mathematically with the percent sign. So we need to turn this guy into a decimal. So it says drop the percent sign, find your decimal point, move it 2 places to the left, 1, 2. So our decimal is 0.07. Of means multiply. 0.07 times 600 is 42. So your friend bought 42 of the $600 raffle tickets, and that gives her a 7% probability of winning. Not great. Okay, and this last one on this page, same sort of thing. It tells you that this company made a whole lot of money in sales, and it says 9% of those they made over the internet. How much money did they make over the internet? Well, the math question boils down to, what is 9% of $350 million? That's the math question. Again, of means multiply. I can't deal with the 9 with the percent sign, so I have to make him a decimal, drop the percent sign, find the decimal point, move it 2 places to the left. So you're going to have to add a placeholder. So 0.09 times 350, big ones, million. And when you do this multiplication, you end up with 31,500,000 dollars. So, and that doesn't seems like it's too high to me. Let me multiply this one more time and see if I did this right. 9%. That's right. So that's almost 10%, and 10% would have been 35 million. So, yep, it's right. So this is a short video. That's the end of this, and we'll do some practice on this when you come to class. Thanks for watching.